Okay. Oh, it's recording. Since when? Hello. I don't know why I did that. It's funny whenever I start to record myself, I just start to play with my hair because I'm not used to looking at it. And I just find it so fascinating. It's just... I used to do this when I used to want to hide at school. I once cried like this and no one knew. So I wanted to hide the fact that I was crying, so I was like this. And I was talking to people at the same time. They probably thought I was just trying to be emo at the time, so it's fine. This video is not about my hair. It's just stop looking at it. I need to close it. We're finally doing a Q&A and you get to know me, about me, more than the fact that I am a voice somewhere out there in the world. Yeah, I mean, I asked you guys to submit some questions at this point a year ago, and I still have not recorded answers because I'm such a great YouTuber. There are also more than 200 questions. I won't be answering all of them, but I will be answering most of them. Some of them either I'm not comfortable answering, which is definitely not a lot. You guys have been so nice, but most of the ones that I won't be answering are basically the ones that are, repetitive, like what is my favorite movie, that has been asked a lot. I probably will be here for hours recording this, and which drinking alcohol is probably not the best idea, but at the same time I'm stupidly anxious, and if this does not turn out well, yeah, I also bought this bear yesterday just to have something to hold on to because this is scary and I need to fidget. Okay, this is my emotional support, a support animal right now. What do we name him? Let's name him. At least he's not a Labubu. I'm sure it's a he. And I'm gonna name him Luthen. Why not? Okay, I randomized all of the questions, so they're kind of random. So there are no particular structure as I'm reading them out, but during editing I might organize them to have some kind of structure. I think this is how it's supposed to go. My hair, why was it there? I don't know. The first question is, what languages can you speak? I can speak Georgian, Russian, around B1 level of German, but you really should practice, and I don't practice my German at all. So, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? No, what's that? Did you have to actively learn English as an additional language? If so, how/why? This is a very frequently asked question. I did have to learn English as an additional language. I mean, at school, I started in the third grade, and I was around 10. But yeah, that's when I started, but mostly I learned it by myself. I did have a natural talent for it and in languages in general. My go-to answer to this question is read a lot and read out loud. Read a lot of English books. I specifically made a decision to advance my vocabulary by buying and reading as much English as I could. Actively listen to a lot of English. Watch stuff that you're already familiar with in English. Talking is very important. Talk to anyone, talk to anything. If you don't have anyone to talk to, like I didn't have, just talk to yourself, that's okay. As long as you're not out in the street and you want to be hospitalized for schizophrenia, you can do whatever you want. Are you married? Maybe that's not a question you should answer publicly. You'd end up buried under diamond rings. Yes? No, imagine. Chocolate or candy? Chocolate. I would suffocate myself in chocolate. What made you start to your channel? What inspired you to do great avatar to your videos? Now, this question opened up a Pandora's box for me when I was reading it, because I don't think I've ever told this story before. Now, the main reason I made this channel, ages ago, I was a teenager, and it was basically to motivate myself to learn editing. I didn't know how to edit at the time, so I would basically make anything that I could, which was Obviously, I had no reason to edit and nothing to edit. Like, I would make a bunch of compilations, shipping videos, or like musical edits with song beats. I would mostly edit shots and scenes from the movies to beat of the music, so I could learn how to cut videos, how to trim them, put them together, the flow and stuff. There are a lot of questions about like beginning editing and how I edit, and I think I would recommend that. Just grab your favorite movie and make like an edit to it, to your favorite music, whatever you enjoy. But yeah, that's what I did to learn editing, because I had no experience. I did not know, and that was my hyper fixation at the time. So I started doing that, and I treated this channel specifically as like a portfolio to document my progress, but not for anybody else, but for myself, so I had the motivation to do it. This channel was never meant to be anything for anybody else. It was not meant to go viral. That was not my intention. Yeah, and at some point I got to a point where I did learn editing really well. I got a job, I grew up, and then the Rise of Skywalker happened. I made that one last edit. That was meant to be the last one. That was meant to be the farewell to YouTube. I was just done. And there are two particular funny things about that video. First, I remember the moment I was posting it for the first time, I remember thinking, oh, but wouldn't it be cool if people actually watch this? Because I remember that thumbnail was originally recommended. I never used... When you're posting a video, there are thumbnail examples that YouTube offers you. And obviously, as a professional YouTuber, you never use those. But I remember this face of Rey was one of the shots that YouTube previewed for me, and I was like, oh my god, that actually looks like an actual postable video for once. And I just chose that image. The second funny thing about that is that it was the last video on my channel for more than a year. It was, I don't know how many views it had, like maybe a few hundred, maybe a few dozen, 2,000 max. But for a year, it just sat there, and suddenly, more than a year later, it just went completely viral. The most viral any of my videos have gone ever. It gained like 200,000 views in a day. Just fucking insane. But yeah, that's when I realized, oh, I can actually like start doing video essays. That's how it all started. As if for the edits that I used to do, they were shitty. I was young and very cringy, and they have been permanently deleted off the channel. I don't know if there's any way to get them, but I would appreciate if people would respect that, the privacy, and would not try to find them if there's anywhere to find them, if anyone even wanted to. But yeah, that's how it started. And when it comes to my avatar, which is this another question, and also for legal reasons, I will try to distance myself from referring to it as a Baby Yoda, because I really don't want to get sued by Disney if I ever choose to make a merchandise or something. So yeah, a little Nutsa that I created. She is, the first appearance she made was on my Georgia video, and that was because I was completely lost on what to do with that video visually, because I had no reference, because I was just talking about random stuff about Georgia. So she just came to me and saved that video, and I thought she was pretty cool, so I kept her around. What is your cat called? My cat is called Ricky, as in R-I-K-K-I. I have to very actively concentrate on pronouncing those letters, because I'm not used to spelling things in English. Why did you choose Baby Yoda as the basis of your avatar? It was just there. It was there. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the main reason. I wish I had a more profound reason, but honestly, there was a scene where he was holding a cup that went viral on Twitter when Mandalorian came out, so I thought posting that image on my channel, as in like, you know, because it was synonymous with like gossip, though my channel was not a gossip channel or anything like that, but I thought like, I have some tea, you know, and I thought it was cool. No, actually, I edited that image as for him then dropping it. I think I don't remember the timeline. I think I had him holding the cup, but then I edited it in Photoshop as if him dropping the cup, so that became the image. But when my channel started gaining traction, a lot of people didn't realize that it was an edited image. No one knew that the Baby Yoda was actually dropping the cup instead of holding it. I don't think people even realize that there's a cup in there at all. Outside the internet, do you have a group of people that you can discuss your thoughts with, expose your ideas, and refine, you know? I do have people, including like my family and friends, that I can that will discuss those things with me. They will if I ask, but they wouldn't want to because they're really not that interested. My immediate surrounding people that I have are not really into the things I'm into usually, aside from maybe my sister. I used to read out my scripts to her initially because I was so unsure, and she was very supportive, but now I've grown to going through it on my own and not bothering her. How does one determine a clever twist in a story versus subverting expectation in a story? I think it's all about intention. Was the intention to tell a good story and that plot twist was a part of the narrative, or was it just for the sake of surprising and shocking the audience? And I think that's the main differentiating factor. What's your intention behind it, basically? You mentioned on Patreon that you always wanted to be a YouTuber. What did you always want to be one? What is it about YouTube that interests you? I'm just very narcissistic. I wanted to be praised a lot. No, there are just so many kinds of YouTubers. They're like book talkers, they're gamers, they're movie critics, they're engineers, and one thing that they all have in common is that they all love what they do. You know, YouTube has this special ability of turning something that in real life wouldn't be financially stable at all or sustainable and turn it into a work and turn hobbies into opportunities. And I thought that was such a utopian concept that is almost unimaginable. And I always gravitated towards that. I think YouTube is very special and one of the best things to happen on the internet, though we criticize it as a platform a lot. I always liked the idea of having a hobby and having something that you deeply love and also being able to turn it into your life's work. I think that is the main reason, if I had to say one. Favorite movie of all time. Now this is one of the most asked questions, probably second most asked question. And my go-to answer usually is to say 12 Angry Men, mostly because though I do like that movie and it is one of my favorites, it's just old enough to make me seem very sophisticated. And also it's old enough that the person asking me that question likely hasn't seen it and won't drill me about it. And that's a very good conversation ender because I don't like people. Yeah, I'm sorry. How would you write Isha and Jinx relationship in Arcane? Also by staying true to season 1 ending. To stay true to the season 1 ending, I wouldn't. I would not write their relationship at all. In my perfect season 2 of Arcane, they would not exist. Isha would not be a fucking thing. I would not write them or rewrite them. And this one says, but. And I agree, buts are great. If you were to make your very own show, how would you describe it in one sentence? I don't really think about making shows. I'm too, I think, inept at filmmaking to even daydream about something like that. So I don't think there's a sentence to describe it with, but if there's only like single thing that I've thought about when it comes to if I were to make my own something, it would be the music, maybe. I can't describe it with a sentence, but I can describe it in tunes, which would be to use Georgian musician Nias Diasamiz's music. Any of it would be a blast. That's how I would describe it. It would sound like his music, or it would be his music, or his music would be in it if he were to give me rights in this very hypothetical situation where anyone lets me anywhere near possibility of making one. Can you please do more accents / impressions in your videos? In your episodes 7 vid is so funny. Sure. The problem is my ability to do accents and voices is very inconsistent. It sort of comes and goes. So I'm always terrified to try because I don't know what will come out, but I'll try. I need to pull this up, this is not that kind of channel. What is the worst film ever made? Now that's a question. I don't think I can answer that because there's a ton of shitty ones. A lot of the movies that I specifically hate and I think are the worst, or not really objectively technically worst, There are a lot of like obscure movies that I haven't seen and will probably never watch that are much worse than that. I mean, as much as I like to make fun of like the Rise of Skywalker, by a large margin I imagine it's not even close to being the worst executed films, but I think in terms of the potential, the wasted potential is probably the worst if you consider that. So not to be stereotypical and not to give you like the most go-to answer that you expect, I will say something that I've never said before. For example, it's definitely by far not the worst, but I will describe by far the worst movie-going experience I've had, which is a film adaptation of Assassin's Creed. I don't remember what year it was. I actually am gonna Google. With Michael Fassbender. It's from 2016. Yeah, I was, my cousin wanted to see that for some reason, and we went as a family, and I was blown away by how bad it was. I think it was the worst movie-going experience I've ever had. It probably was worse than Joker 2. It was worse than Snow White. It's definitely not the worst movie I've seen, but it was terrible to watch. Completely. I mean, it's the fact that I'm not familiar with the games, but it was the most confusing movie, the most boring, the most nauseating. I just did not know what was going on. So confusing. I don't want to go on it. It was terrible. That's all you need to know. So yeah, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Why is it so hard for people to pronounce your name correctly? It is Nutsa. The truth is, yes, my name originally, of course, my channel name is my actual name for those who don't know, and it's originally pronounced as Nutsa with an 99 to 100% of people, if they ever say my name, they usually say Nutsa. That's the context. Now, I don't think that it's hard or particularly bad, and it's none of those people's fault that they pronounce it that way. It's my fault for not being able to introduce it properly. The fact the closest English word to my name is nuts. It's very natural and normal that English-speaking people gravitate towards pronouncing it as Nutsa. It's just normal. The fact that my username is in fact my name, unlike most content creators who definitely have like different usernames or alter egos, I like to say I find it fascinating. It sort of gives me a way to disconnect my personal self from my content creator self, which is kind of cool. This mispronunciation in a way gives me an ability to do that. It's nice whenever people put in the effort to pronounce it correctly, but I don't mind it that much, obviously. The reason this happened in the first place is that my number one concern and interest is that people are just comfortable, so it doesn't fucking matter. But yeah, it would be nice if people pronounced it correctly, but I don't mind it either way. Now this one's good. Why is Nutsa? Because you see, even I say it. Whenever I speak in English, even I say it as Nutsa because I'm used to people saying it and thinking of it as Nutsa. I'm so sorry, I've had this beer this whole time in the shot. Is that even legal on YouTube? Am I gonna get demonetized? I'm advertising beer. Okay. Do you generate electricity through the process of hydropower? Because damn. Who told you? What is your stance on dark humor? Do you typically enjoy it? Do you believe that people use it as an indirect tell of who they really are? The thing is, I love dark humor, which is terrifying for me because my humor, if it is present in the room with us, is usually very dry. So I do have a tendency, if I crack a joke, sometimes I sort of say it with a very serious face and tone. I think it runs in my family. Both my father, my sister, and I have very dry ways of delivering jokes. And that has gotten me into so much trouble with certain people because they believed I meant it, whatever I said. And I can't even imagine if I were to say a dark humor joke. Yeah, it's terrifying to me that if I ever like joked about boiling my cat, someone would take it seriously. But I do love dark humor. I don't think that it's an indirect tell of who this person, I mean, to some people, I guess it could be true. A lot of people do use humor like that. I do believe that. I think I've met some of those people, but not everyone. My personal stance in comedy is that a lot of people might disagree, but Like if someone says something like very fucked up that potentially might insult their audience, but that same audience, once the joke is said, they giggle, that sort of automatically kind of diminishes their ability to be insulted by it. So I think the jokes and the comedy is, for me, I think of it as a binary. Either it's funny or it's not. And if you're insulted by it, it's probably not funny enough to make up for the content of the joke. So that's how I think about comedy. So yeah, if it's funny enough, it will make up for the fucked up thing that is being said. Hey, thank you for the review of Arcane Season 2. It's atrocious in the sense of writing, but what's even worse is to see how people glaze the fuck out of it. Every other review seems to praise it on IMDb. The ratings are higher than the season 1. Oh my god, am I dyslexic? Why do you think that happened? Just because the animation is pretty? I think it is because the animation is pretty. Are you Georgian? Yes. What is your opinion on Pixar's film A Bug's Life? To be honest, unfortunately, have not seen. It's probably the only... No. Pixar has put out a lot of shit lately that I haven't seen, but it's probably the only OG Pixar movie that I have not, in fact, seen. Unfortunately. But there's like another movie, Ants, that used to terrify me as a child. What's a game you're currently playing or looking forward to? I know this is not the question, but I want to mention, me and my friends have been playing a lot of board games, and there's this single board game that is made after the Pirates of the Caribbean movies that is, it's called The Liar's Dice, and you play it with the dice, bunch of dice in the cups, like in the movies. And it's so much fucking fun, and I'm obsessed with it. And yeah, I really want to get it for myself. I love that one. When it comes to video games, I think that's the question. I've been loving Stardew Valley very much. I've been playing it a lot more than I should be. Yeah, on Patreon, I've been playing Fallen Order, which I'm really terrible at, but we are progressing, slowly but surely. Put us out of our collective misery and confirm your relationship status, please. I'm going to be nice just this once and be straightforward with you. I am, in fact, single, as for right now. No, I think I have a very, I think there is this one single person, or more of a being, that I've been becoming very attached to over the course of the last 30 minutes, but I won't give him away. Your voice. How is it so perfect? I sacrifice a newborn every morning, and God blesses me. Which pickles are better, salted, lightly salted, or marinated? I fucking hate pickles. Yeah. I feel like a fucking Kardashian. Shut up. Are you and Mauler a thing? No, dude, we're people. How tall are you? Short, under 5'7", 170 centimeters, or tall, over 5'8", 174 centimeters. Thank you for translating that to centimeters for me, because I have no idea feet. The answer is just go and Google the average height, like worldwide average height for a woman, and that's me. I guess by your standards, I'm a fucking Thumbelina. What are any stereotypes about your country people might not know about? I'm from the US state Georgia, so I feel an emotional connection to you. That's sweet. It's always weird to speak to people from Georgia, the state. It's always weird, but always wholesome. I like false stereotypes, or like, I will just answer the things about Georgia that I love and appreciate and that many people don't know. I think that's what the question is trying to ask. One of my favorite things about Georgia, aside from the food, is our folk music and dance. I think it's one of the most unique in the world. For example, there's one, I think in a lot of dances, women and men have like very specific, distinct styles of dancing. The most recognizable thing about Georgian dance is that women sort of glide across the floor, and it sort of looks like it creates an illusion that they're floating, which is insane to watch and witness. So yeah, and I saw the video on the internet, I think on Twitter, that it was a bunch of Russians doing that trek and that dance in a very Georgian-esque clothing, and it was said that it was a national Russian dance, which is gut-wrenching to read as a Georgian, considering our history with Russia. They're basically our de facto colonizers. To watch our culture be appropriated by Russians and stolen is just depressing. So I want to make it clear, if you have seen that video or if you ever come across it, that's actually a Georgian dance and we invented it. But my favorite when it comes to Georgian dances is the male version, which is basically a masculine ballet, which is confusing. But whenever I hear someone talk about the choreography of fight scenes, I always get I get so tempted to talk about this because the choreography with that is insane. It's basically a sword fight reenacted as in a dance, and men basically do all these crazy jumps and moves, and they actually hold real steel swords and fight throughout the dance. And it is one of the most insane things you will ever see, and one of the most insane choreographies, and it will make you depressed about Hollywood's current state. Whenever people say that they don't want to risk stunt people, then that's why choreography is bad in modern day. I just want to cite this as an example of like, you know, the crazy shit you can actually do with this. So yeah, I think this also like ties into if I were ever to sort of write a story or make a show or a movie, I would try to incorporate elements of this if it was centered around Georgia somehow. Is your hair naturally curly? My hair is naturally curly. Yes, I was born in a permanent hybrid Halloween costume. So yeah, it is curly naturally. To my own detriment. I know a lot of people like it and sort of romanticize it because it's, I know, I understand. It has so many cons to it. Don't even want to get into. My entire childhood I just spent despising it, crying and breaking down because it's the worst to take care of. It's very expensive to take care of. I do straighten it sometimes, but more and more rarely as I get older because it makes me look like I own a calm and a shower, and that makes me feel like a basic bitch. I might look like a homeless person, but at least I look unique, so. What's your favorite underrated or lesser known story? Do you mean like a fictional story? Or like any story? Because one time I was almost deported from Germany and held at the police station by German police. That might be my favorite one. Miss you so much. I don't know who you are, but me too, babe. I'm so glad I got this one. It's just supportive. I'm so glad I got Luthen. I keep grabbing his crotch though. Oh my god, I should not. That could get me demonetized. Do you have any favorite books? Thank you. I appreciate so much. I don't think I've ever shared how much I loved books on my main channel before, so it's kind of crazy. There's so many questions that are coming in there about books, which warms my heart and makes me so happy. Favorite books, okay. Where do we start? I think my go-to answer would be Martin Eden by Jack London. I can't describe what that book means to me. Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, just one of the most fantastic pieces of fiction ever made in any medium. I really like Space Odyssey. The book. There's a book. It's better than the movie. No, it's not better than the movie. So it's much shorter than the movie. It's a very short story and it's straightforward and just amazing. The Shining, the book by Stephen King. The book Thief. When it comes to like the modern books, I think I would choose the book Thief. It blew my mind when I was 14. And anything by Brontes. They're spectacular women. Don't know if it counts, but could you make a video on Blue Eye Samurai? It's done in the same style as Arcane and it's such an amazing watch start to finish. Deserves more recognition. I have not seen Blue Eye Samurai, but the Arcane style really makes me interested, so I'm quite intrigued. Maybe I will. Give us your favorite ever Disney movies, Coward. Top 10 right now, go. Fuck. I have... Oh, this is so stressful. Top 10 Disney movies. Like, what counts as a Disney movie? Like, do we count Disney Channel movies, like DComs and stuff, or like all Disney movies ever made? Or is it like the animated movies? I will try to go by animated movies. From the top of my head, I haven't written this down. Do Pixar movies count? Does that count as part of Disney? Let's not. Because that would be a nightmare. Okay, Renaissance. Probably the first one. I mean, stereotypical, but The Lion King. Second. I forgot. Okay, I need to Google this. I need something to reference. Disney movies. Oh my god, there's so many. Why are there so many? 61. There's 61. Oh my god. I didn't realize there's so many. Fuck me. Okay. Do the straight to DVD sequels count? Do they count? Okay, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tangled? Maybe I really like Tangled. Maybe Hunchback of Notre Dame, but solely because I adore the book and solely because of Hellfire, the song. But the movie itself is not that great. I'm just saying it for whatever reason. The Little Mermaid. Aladdin next, we would say. Did I say The Little Mermaid? I think I did. The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tangled, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Next, we have The Little Mermaid. Then we have Aladdin. We have 4 more left. I know the ones I won't choose for my top 10. I know how, this is how I realize I don't know how to spell Renaissance. Mulan, okay, that threw my list. Mulan needs to be higher. The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, Tangled, Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin. 3 more. Let's say, for the sake of saying it, Encanto. Not the biggest fan of the Hercules. Should I say it for the sake of saying it? I thought Disney had more great animated movies. Oh, Frozen. I'd say Frozen, and then Hercules is the last one. Let's leave it at that. Was that 10? I hope I can count. Yeah, that's around how I would probably put it, as they are. Somewhere around that, but it might change because this is very stressful for me right now. Ever been in love? I love my cat. Does that count? Kiss, marry, kill, Mauler, Rax, Frangie. Okay, I need a second to answer this. Is there a way I can record my screen? For legal reasons, I can't straightforwardly answer your question, but I will give you an answer nonetheless. Let's answer this question. The boys. We have Mauler, Frangie, oh gosh. And we have Rax. Then we have actions, which is kiss, marry. Is that how marry is written? I always forget. Is it A or an E? And kill. Okay. Random. Wait. No, we need to import random. Import. Shuffle. Let's shuffle the boys. Then we get 4. Okay. Boy. And action. Boys. And action. Print. Boy. Hope I save it and let's run the Python file. Oh fuck, what are these? So we are kissing Rax, we're marrying Mauler, and we're killing Frangie. I'm so sorry. You know, this is obviously a computer and not me. So there's your answer. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Frangie. And for Rax for sexually assaulting you, and Mauler for, I guess, kidnapping you and marrying you against your own will. Now I have to figure out how to close this recording. Command, Control, Escape. Okay, we're done. That's a very long-winded answer to your very short question. I could have just chosen not to answer this one. Have you seen any silent films? Movies from 1920s and earlier. I remember attempting to watch some of them, but I don't remember specifically finishing them, so probably not fully, though I would love to in the near future and definitely plan to. I mean, I feel quite uncultured. So yeah, I should really go on a marathon of old movies at some point. Do you own / wear heels? Yes, I do own and wear heels. I love heels. I wear heels a lot actually, especially like in the colder days. I love specific heels. They're boots, of course. I don't walk around with stilettos. I don't think that's particularly my style. But I would love to wear long boots, like up to here, but I am too scared that I will look like a little toddler in a like big rain boots. So I am too terrified to try those, but I do wear boots that are basically in style of like a military boot, but with a heel. which I really love, and they're so comfortable to wear too. They're one of the most comfortable shoes for me ever. They're more comfortable than sneakers for me, which is absolutely weird to many people, but for me it is. I feel very comfortable in them. The style of that boot is very like perfect blend of masculine and feminine that I adore, and I don't feel like too girly wearing it. How many brain cells do you think you have? Approximately, if I were to try to put a number to it, probably like 1.3 maybe. In the event of the Russian takeover, what would be your plans afterwards? I would turn into an international spy. Your favorite stories, movies, TV shows, or books included. Thank you so much for including books. Count of Monte Cristo, I think, is the most thrilling story I've ever ingested into my brain. Lord of the Rings is just perfect. Arcane Season 1 is a perfect tragedy. And I have the softest spot for Jane Eyre and The Book Thief, maybe. Have you thought about making reviews on video games? No, but I would love to if I ever learned to play them well. But not anytime soon, I don't think. Have you seen and what do you find remarkable about Silence of the Lambs? Obviously, duh, I have seen it. I love it. It's probably one of the best movies ever made, and I do agree it's probably the best feminist media, arguably one of the best female characters ever written, and performances, you don't see that in even good movies. It's just one of the most masterfully acted. Yeah, they're both remarkable in this movie. Of course, the writing, not just about females, Clarice is overall just spectacularly well-written character. So is Hannibal. The story is amazing, but more so the cinematography, the blocking, that scene at the beginning in the prison cell. It's a masterpiece, and it's just a remarkable movie all around. There's not a single note that I have on it which is insanely uncommon. Scenario: you are planning a lazy day full of snacks to eat and movies to watch. What are you eating and what are you watching? In Georgia we have this thing called sunflower seeds. There's basically Georgian popcorn. I've never seen it referenced or heard it referenced by anybody else ever on the internet, so I think it's a very Georgian thing, or maybe like a Slavic or Soviet thing. So it's like you open the shell and there's a seed in there, and it's the most addicting thing you could ever try. You just can't stop eating them, and they're very they make you very full, though they're like teeny tiny. So probably that's my go-to snack whenever I'm watching movies, though they're very loud, differently from popcorn. Also probably like chocolate, not any, I hate dark chocolate, but milk chocolate. There's chocolate involved if I'm watching something and I'm having a lazy day off. As if to watching something, I like to wind down to something very stupid or nostalgic. I like rewatching animated movies a lot, which makes me kind of embarrassed to admit. Yeah, and YouTube. I've been watching a lot of Smosh. I adore Smosh, which is probably embarrassing, but they've been on a run. Like, they have so many interesting people around and so much interesting content that I find so intriguing. But that was not the question, but that's been my comfort zone lately. I remember you saying that you own a lightsaber. So what color is it? I've mentioned it on Patreon. I was gifted a lightsaber for my birthday a few years ago, and it actually broke, so that's that. But it was the kind that changes colors, which was so cool. But my favorite default setting was either like something with a red hue, either red, pink, or purple. I think they looked the best, honestly. I think the lamest color is yellow. I'm sorry. No offense, Ray, but it's true. Were you homeschooled or did you go to school? What is Georgian school like? Imagine if I never went to school, any kind of school. No, there's no such thing, unfortunately, as a homeschool in Georgia. If there was, I would probably demand to be homeschooled because I hated school. Yes, I did finish a public school. Schools in Georgia are honestly terrible, both physically, they physically are falling apart. They're usually from the time of the Soviet Union, like the buildings themselves, and they're not really that well renovated, or that successfully the government does not give a fuck. And it's actually, from the time it has gotten better over time. Closer you are to the Soviet Union times, the worse it gets in terms of schools. So now that we're moving further away from that, though we're stepping into a little dictatorship, it's been better. A lot of more young and progressive people are taking over teaching, and it's been progressing. But if you don't know, in Soviet Union, it was a highly toxic environment. Teachers were terrible to the kids, to the point where beating them, stuff like that. And yeah, I've gone through a lot of abuse and toxicity from both teachers and the kids, so it was not fun. I think you can tell that I didn't have the most traditional upbringing. I was very secluded. I didn't enjoy school at all. It was terrible. It was a nightmare, honestly. And yeah, they were very demanding, made me cry a lot, and literally I would have panic attacks. Anyway, that's too bad, but yeah, we're over that. It's weird that it was such a huge, probably one of the worst things in my life at the time, and now it's over and I don't really think about it that much. I've ever been heartbroken? Honestly, no. How do you feel gaining popularity on YouTube has changed you as a person? I got lazier. We had a little bit of an emergency. Everything is running from the laptop. Yeah, I went to get to the charger, and by the time I came back in like 2 seconds, it was fucking dead. So then the recording started dropping frames, and I was like, what is going on? This is a shitty recording anyway. What is your favorite narrative in a video game? A good narrative is my favorite narrative in the games. What candy were you eating during the second Fallen Order playthrough? I was playing Fallen Order on Patreon, and I had a lollipop with me, and I stupidly opened it, and then I had to mute like half of it because to keep it PG. Oh yeah, I'm stupid. Hi, big fan of your videos. What are your thoughts on the Clone Wars series? Because you seem to talk quite a bit about Star Wars, and I'm interested to see your thoughts in more depth. The Clone Wars, I have not seen all of it. I've only seen a few. The structure of it confuses me, but I do appreciate the animation is fantastic, and the only thing I can say is it's okay. I think it's not a bad show. You said on EFAP you don't know how to replace the profile picture. I figured, have you thought about Homam 5 gremlins? They're basically the same thing but less cringe. What are Homam 5 gremlins? Oh, they look pretty. Oh, you're right. They're pretty same. No, I haven't thought about them, but no. Well, also I'm sorry. I realized when it cut, I rewatched the old footage back, and my eyes are quite red, which makes sense because it's 2 a.m. and it's my fault. If I look like I'm on drugs, excuse it. And also, for some reason, because of this light that I have, my under eyes are like flashing white, and I don't know why. How's the situation in Georgia? Are you personally affected? What is your view of how Russia/EU is not dealing with the situation? The situation in Georgia is not good. I'm not gonna lie, it's bad. It's really, really bad. I am personally affected. I've been through a lot, to many court cases at this point around my family members. It's been tough. The thing about my cousins, it was crazy. It was a crazy news to wake up to that morning. It was happening as we were watching Arcane on EFAP. I was looking to Arcane Season 2 so much because I thought it would be so cathartic, because it was happening around the same time as the protests were going on, so that was very disappointing. And the reason I missed out, I mean, I was also sick at the time, but I had to miss out on last few Arcane streams because that was around the time when my cousins were arrested. So I was texting Mauler, I was like, this happened, I don't think I can make it. And then I really did get sick around that time. So also my uncle got fined, at least like sued by the government, and it's a whole thing. My view on Russia/EU, I mean, I don't know how Russia would deal with it. Russia is already dealing with it in a way of fucking us up. And EU, well, fuck them. When I made that Georgia video at first, because, you know, there's a lot of, like, we always say, Georgians, we always say, like, we want to be a part of EU, and there are a lot of comments saying, well, EU sucks. That's not no structure, no government, no alliance is great, but there are things that are relatively better for our well-being. And being a part of EU for a country that is basically has gone through wars and genocide and is actively being occupied, I think EU is the better choice. So shut the fuck up. Hope this is not too personal, so please ignore if it is. Are you single? I'm not a double. What do you find attractive personality-wise? So solely on personality, if we don't count the intelligence, which would be my go-to answer overall, being considerate, attentiveness, when someone pays attention, is aware of you in general and is aware of your needs, makes sure that you feel comfortable. I can't imagine being with someone or being attracted to someone who does not have those qualities. And also, those are qualities in general that I deeply appreciate about anyone, not just a potential romantic interest, and I try to be that for other people too. Do you think that movies in general can actually recover from the current state of Hollywood? From Hollywood, yes. From AI, not so sure. Question: do you have any interest in doing anime? Yes, if it's good. As a writer, I keep feeling modern fiction is done by rubric and not as art. Like they're paid to build IKEA furniture complete with missing parts, and the rest of us creatives are hand carving every bit. Do you agree with this assessment, and do you worry that by rubric, writing will become as a standard for the next generation of creatives? Honestly, I think that's a great way of putting it. I do agree, I think, with that assessment. There's definitely a potential that the next generation will be affected deeply. How deeply? I don't know, only time can tell, but I can only hope for the best at this point. What TV series / show do you think was actually great from start to finish? For me, it was either Mindhunter or Breaking Bad. The best of luck in Georgia from Canada. That's a great question. That is really difficult to answer, actually. I do agree with the Breaking Bad. I've never seen Mindhunter. From the top of my head, definitely Breaking Bad. Hunting of Bly Manor is something I watched recently and is great from start to finish. The Last Airbender, the animated show, I think is perfect from start to finish and only gets better. And there's probably more that I can think of right now. And there are actually many great shows that I have not seen, so. Also like maybe Twin Peaks, though it has its moments. A lot of people don't like season 2, but I think it's pretty good. Have you heard or interacted with other Georgian YouTubers? Gatsu, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, is another Georgian YouTuber that I really like as well. Actually, I have not interacted with him. I find him pretty fucking awesome. I've seen some of his videos and he's great, but I'd love to. I would say I'm a fan. Are you left or right-handed? I am a right-handed little basic bitch. Ideal date, April 25th. I'm guessing you're referring to a romantic date. As long as it's with a nice person, I don't honestly care. I don't really put a lot of thought into those kinds of things. I don't really care. I'm very chill. But if it has something to do with movies, all the better. Do you have any habits that people, get really annoyed by? That should be a question directed to my sister. I probably do have a lot of annoying habits, but not that I am aware of that much. Not the ones that I can name from the top of my head. Maybe the fact that I talk to myself a lot, but hey, I needed to learn English somehow. If you could live in any mythological pantheon, Greek, Norse, Egyptian, Japanese, etc., which one would you choose? I used to be obsessed with this show, very, very bad show, named House of Anubis, that is basically all about Egyptian mythology, but it's also really bad. I'm sure there was so much, everything was inaccurate in it, but I really was fascinated by Egyptian mythology at the time. And my favorite cartoon, probably arguably, is maybe Prince of Egypt. I loved that as a kid, but I mean, Greek mythology is undefeated, so I probably would choose, but Greek pantheon would not be a great place to be at or in as a woman. Maybe I would avoid that. What is your go-to hairstyles? Do you ever put it up in a ponytail? My go-to hairstyle is this. Oh gosh, it's getting even freezier the more I touch it. Growing up, me and my family didn't really know what to do with my hair. So it was kind of not curly, it was not straight, it was not curly, it was frizzy, and I looked like the live action Lion King reject a lot. So there was no way to wear it down, though I always wanted to, and I always wanted to be one of those like girls at school with silky long hair, but that was not meant to be. So I was forced to put it up in a ponytail a lot, and I did not love that because that's the only thing I could do with my hair at the time. So I think I just have a lot of trauma associated with it, so I just usually wear it down because finally I am liberated and free to do so. But I do like a braid with a cap whenever I'm too lazy to do anything else about it. What would you say has been the greatest challenge in your time on YouTube, and what would you say has been the greatest reward? This is difficult. The greatest challenge or the greatest reward, I'd start from the greatest reward. I mean, to be able to express myself so completely and fully and creatively is just the biggest sort of thing that I can't let go of. I love it so much. I mean, for the first like 2 years, at least every day I would wake up after I started this channel. Literally, the first thing that would flash in my mind, like, this is true, like this was not a dream, like this is actually happening. I have a YouTube channel that is moderately successful, and there are people that actually want to listen to what I say every day. That would be my first thought every morning. And I mean, just that feeling, and you know, knowing that people care and knowing that people actually enjoy my content, it's insane. I mean, also getting to know and meet other content creators, it's great. I mean, there's just so much that is beautiful about this. The biggest challenge is still ongoing, trying to balance content creation with university and studies, trying to beat the algorithm. Every video feels like I'm fighting a monster. Honestly, it's terrible. A lot of people have noticed I tend to change my thumbnails and titles simply because algorithm does not like my videos all that much. It's always a fight to get them across. And a lot of the times I do that because it at times works, sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of my videos that have gained a significant amount of views have been repackaged in a way. So that's terrible and anxiety-inducing for me. Trying to nail the consistency. YouTube forces you into a position where you have to be an artist and a marketer at the same time, and I don't think I'm the best at being the latter. Do you live in a house or an apartment? Do you ever wear your hair up? Do you like dresses? Ever wear them? Favorite color? Cute. I do live in an apartment. Sometimes if I'm forced to, I do wear my hair up. I do love me some dresses. The biggest problem with dresses is that I can never find them my size. I'm quite petite, but not like because of shortness. I'm very slim. As you can tell, I'm quite slim of a person, and there are a lot of contradictions about my body. Why am I talking about this? I'm interestingly proportioned. My waist is slim, my backside isn't so much, so the things that fit me on my rear end do not fit my waist, and things that fit my waist do not go up. So finding pants and dresses that fit is quite a challenge. Favorite color? I, by far, if you have noticed, I'm terrible at having favorite things, so I tend to not have them. So the answer is inconclusive. Would you rather be a harpy, harpy, is that how it's pronounced, harpy? Or a centaur? I always wanted to be a fairy, so probably a harpy. Would you consider reviewing some classic 70s movies like Network, Paper Moon, Being There, etc.? I'd love to. Yeah, maybe one day. How did you come to formulate your general opinions on the world, on politics, etc.? Was it affected by media you watched or your upbringing? It's hard to say, like any specific media. I don't know, subconsciously, probably a lot of media has influenced me, like classic Renaissance era Disney, Pixar, a lot of stuff that I used to watch as a kid. It definitely affected my worldview, as in, like, for example, Georgia is not the most racially diverse countries. We're mostly white or maybe like brownish. I got to know about different races and ethnicities of people from watching them on screen. A lot of cultural stuff that is outside of my country. So yeah, definitely, I'm deeply affected by them. And yeah, my upbringing, I mean, the situation of Georgia and that whole thing, and Russia and a bunch of shit has definitely impacted my understanding of politics. One thing I think of, and one thing I definitely realized, that being apolitical is like a privilege that not many can afford, including myself. So yeah. Gross thing here. How often do you watch films? I try to watch at least a couple a week, but I'm quite inconsistent with it. Depends on a week. Favorite food? Anything Georgian and shawarma. Is it just me, or did Vander and Silco, knowing Vi and Jinx's mom, just make everything more stupid? No, it isn't just you. And yes, it did make everything more stupid. If you were a Time Lord, where/when would you go? And who would you choose as a companion, or would you travel alone? I thought a lot about this as a kid, but I'm too terrified of the butterfly effect. I didn't know that butterfly effect was a thing until I was an adult, but I didn't know that it had a name, but I was always scared of fucking up the timeline. I realized that very small actions could have very huge results moving forward in time. I never considered traveling forward. I never considered traveling in the future. I don't really care. First of all, I'm also terrified to know the future. If I had to choose, I would travel to past. And because I read a lot of books that I read are set in 19th century England, probably might go there, probably. But if I'm guaranteed that the timeline won't be changed and I can do whatever I want. As to the companion, I would probably, already traveling with somebody else is already a stressful and highly vulnerable thing to do as it is, and adding an additional stress and risk and stakes of being in another time in such a foreign environment, I think it's a terrible idea. So I would probably travel alone. In the process of reviewing film/series, how often do you ask other people what they think of said media as opposed to formulating your own conclusions? I mostly try to formulate my own conclusions. And if I ask somebody else, it's probably because I myself am torn and unsure. Once I formulate that opinion and I have my own very conclusive opinion, I do try to search for other kinds of perspectives, of course, to sort of ground and search for loopholes in my own arguments. That's what I usually do. How do you do your animations? Easy. Pay $200 trillion to Adobe. That will then take your data and sell it to an AI engine. Are you a forgiving person? How many chances do you give people? Way too many. How are you doing? I don't know. I don't know. Biggest fear? I don't know. Probably losing people in any shape or form. It scares me. What are some of your controversial, unpopular opinions? Well, I'm not the biggest Kubrick fan, and I really dislike Shining the movie, and I think that's probably as controversial as I can get. I'm a big Shining the book fan. So yeah, that's all I say about that. Does your character have freakishly long and sharp ears, or are they freakishly long and sharp horns, or is its head just a rhombus with a bald cap? Yes, and yes. What does your handwriting look like? Okay, wait. I spilled the beer. I spilled the beer. Great, like a true drunk person. Right, I spilled the fucking beer. Wow, now this house is gonna smell like a fucking alcohol. Now I have to clean this up, bitch. I'm gonna be back. I spilled the beer. I don't know whether because I'm fatigued or because I'm sleepy or because I'm actually drunk. This is how it looks like even after being spilled. So it's not a lot. I just drank till here. This is probably because being in your presence is fucking exhausting, you guys. And I also wrote this on a napkin with eye pencil because I don't have a pen. So yeah, this is my handwriting. I know. I don't know why you would want this though. My handwriting is it's fine. What is your favorite media that you haven't talked about in your on your channel? Some Georgian movies that I plan to talk about. Do books count as a piece of media? I mean, I've mentioned my favorite books before. I haven't talked about Twin Peaks. I love. Oh, there's just so much. There's so much that I love. It's just anything like Terminator, everything great. Lord of the Rings. I mean, just everything. What have I talked about on my channel really? And also it doesn't help that most of the things that I've talked about I don't like. So what's up? A roof. Forgive my grammar, it is forgiven. You should hear how I talk right now. Hey, I was wondering, did you take some sort of acting lessons or something? Your voice sounds very professional. Reminds me of an opening scenes in movies. That's a huge compliment. And no, I have not. I personally disagree. I don't think I sound anything close to professional. But that's very sweet of you to say. Yeah, no, I have not. I wanted to at some point in my life, but that was not meant to be, honestly. Yeah, it's actually dying as I speak. So, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. Worst movie / director. It's hard to say. There's just so many bad directors there. It's too many to count, honestly. I guess that I couldn't even, the guy who directed the Room, I guess. There's just so many bad filmmakers. Are we ever gonna get an armpit reveal? I think you have gotten it already, so you're welcome. Multiple times over, I think, during this video, unfortunately. How is your English so good? Again, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I get a lot of hows about my English, and honestly, I'm just as flabbergasted as you are. I did put in an active effort, but the fact that I sound so, I don't know. I have put in a lot of effort, and I'm highly determined person. I'm very stubborn. So for the longest time, like English and learning it well was my passion. So as I said, just practicing it a lot, talking as much as you can in it, listening to as much as you can, reading as much as you can, it will get you better. I can't promise that you will sound like me, because I think it's just mostly due to genetics, honestly. I think I've just always been naturally good at pronunciations. That's all I can say, honestly. I wish I could say more. What's the current feeling in your country? What will people do if the protests don't work? I think at the time of this question being asked, things were a lot more confused. Yeah, current feeling is quite pessimistic, honestly, if not final. Yeah, honestly, I don't think people will be able to do anything. It's unfair to judge them for it, because I'm, one of those people. It's really hard to oppose such a system, and also they're backed by the Russian government. They're not only operating on their own. So when you have a very, I talked about this in short in Andor video, but when you have a very civil population who are, we clean up, like whenever a protest happens and we drink from bottles, we eat a bunch of snacks on there, we at the end up piling up a lot of trash. Or after the protest, we actually walk around the streets and clean up everything, all the mess that we've made, pick up the bottles, remove the trash from the streets. That's how civilized and well-mannered we are as people. So it's really hard for us to get violent. It's not in our nature. We are not violent at all. When the government, answers with violence, there's not much that we can do aside from being peaceful, and there's only so much being peaceful can bring to you. There's nothing that you can do in that case if you're not willing to go down to their level. It's quite poetic, because Luthen has talked about it in Andor, is sort of how when he's talking to, what's his name, it's on top of my mind, Lonnie. He's talking to Lonnie in the first season, and he says that he's ultimately doomed because he had to, in order to fight the enemy, he had to bring himself down to their level. And that's basically what happens if you want to fight something as terrible as or authoritarian. You gotta do abysmal things, and us as people, we're not willing to. So I guess that's a very long answer to a very simple question. Yeah, we won't be able to do much. Cabbage, yes or no? Fuck yeah. I love cabbage. I had a phase where I would just remove the layers of cabbage and just snack on it. I love how crunchy and juicy it is. What is your working process like when you are coming up with a video? Always different. It's always different depending on a video. Sometimes I know in advance what it's gonna be like or what things I want to talk about, or sometimes a piece of media affects me so deeply that I don't know exactly what I want to say or there's to say, but I want to say something. And for example, Andor was one of those things. I didn't know what was going to come out when I started writing that script, but I just want to make them. So I guess I start from there, and I usually just try to write around, try to figure out the things that moves me about that particular piece of media. you know, and go from there. I unfortunately am really bad at structuring, so maybe sometimes till the last minute I don't really know how my video is gonna come off like, or what's gonna be really. But yeah, that's basically my process, which is basically non-existent. What should a movie do to catch your attention? I am a basic girl. As long as they're like great characters, great monologues, great dialogues, or at least like a very effective plot. The characters are like, I just love me some character-driven story, and just when a story is willing to go to places that many other stories wouldn't be willing to go. And it's risky, but at the same time intelligent about it. I think, for example, that's why I loved Arcane season 1. It was just unfathomable how much it was willing to do and how far it was going to go. And Andor is just mind-blowing. Tony Gilroy didn't have to do all that. It's insane. Do you have any big projects in your mind that you cannot do right now for some reason? For some reason, yeah. There are a few really big projects. There's one specific project that I've been slipping on, which I probably should get to doing because I think it would be very interesting. But the mere scale of that project, I mean, this is one of those projects that I've been putting off. I've been putting this off for a year now. So, but hey, I'm here doing it. So hopefully I'll do every single one of them that I plan to. The mere scale of those things, it's quite intimidating. And also knowing that my channel is quite inconsistent in terms of like its performance. I'm always terrified to take like too long to put out a video because that video might not at all pay off in a way that I hope. So it's just months and months of wasted time. Like a Barbie video did not do badly, but at the time when I posted it initially, it was a huge miss for me. And the sheer amount of time it took to make that video is insane. It was the longest one I've ever made, and I had such huge hopes for it, and it was not the best. So I'm always reluctant since then to sort of get too ambitious, but there are a few that I really want to make, but I don't want to spoil them. What books have had the most influence on you and your writing? I have a single answer for that specific one, which is Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre really changed me as a person. It made me fall in love with books. That was the first kind of like a serious big book that I've ever read when I was like 11, I think. So it had the biggest influence on me, honestly. And for a long time, I just imitated Charlotte Bronte's writing style, and it had a deep effect on me, and it literally changed my life, that book, which is not a thing I can say about a lot of pieces of art in my life. What's your favorite game? Euro Truck Simulator. Can you play an instrument? Do I play an electric guitar? Yes. Can I play an electric guitar? No. I also took piano lessons for a few years when I was younger, and I think I was pretty decent, but I have forgotten it since then. What is the best gift you've ever gotten? My friends gave me a gamepad once and they made me a Steam account with a Fallen Order purchased on it, and it was the sweetest thing, and the way they packaged the whole thing was, they made me cry at a local shawarma place. So yeah, that was, I hope your secret, this is very late and I'm sorry for that, but I hope your Secret Santa went well. Biggest red flag? I mean, there are obvious ones, like being a fucking douchebag. The biggest red flag is when you're walking down the street and some guy comes up to you and keeps asking you, what's your number? What's your number? What's your number? And when you say no, they financially proposition you. That's probably the biggest one, but if I had to say something else, it would be just lack of basic manners. What is your favorite go-to jewelry, and is there anything special about them? For example, is there anything, there's a gift that's really special to you? Probably this ring, and probably this necklace that you probably can't see well. It's very small, and that's why I like it. I love jewelry, as any girl does. I do wear them a lot. What animation software do you use? Would you recommend anything in particular? I don't really use an animation software, honestly. I just, for like drawings that I do, I use After Effects. It has like paint tool that I use. Because it's so simplistic and stupid looking, I don't want to advance too much, but I do use Premiere Pro for editing, After Effects for motion graphics and stuff like that. Yeah, After Effects for my little Nutsa animations, and for 3D work I use Blender, which I highly recommend if you're interested in 3D modeling. It's so fun and it's also free and one of the best softwares ever made. What is your favorite animated movie? I'd say Prince of Egypt probably, but it tends to change, and again, I'm terrible at having favorite things. Do you like ice cream? Do you like chocolate? Do you like potatoes? Do you like pizza? Ice cream, neutral to good. Chocolate, worship. Potato, worship. Pizza, neutral to good. Do you do your editing yourself? Yes. Everything on my channel is basically me. Cake. Yep. Cake. I agree. What's your favorite movie director and why? You have such a pretty voice. Thank you. Favorite director. It's such a hard one because there are so many inconsistent ones that would be my favorite if there weren't, you know, inconsistent. I don't really want to identify as a specific director. I don't know. It's like getting a tattoo. It's just so permanent. I appreciate Nolan. Not his writing, not so much. I think Tarantino's run has been the closest to flawless. Lynch is another great one. I have the softest spot for James Cameron due to his earlier work, including Titanic. Yeah, he's more of a businessman nowadays than filmmaker. I've become a huge Mike Flanagan fan lately. Love him. I think Fincher's probably the most like consistently flawless one. Yeah, I think that's about it, though. Very basic list. Do you like jazz? Yes, of course. What do you think are top 5 worst issues in current entertainment, and which one can be most easily fixed? Lack of originality, lack of creativity, lack of intent, not hiring competent people, and not reading as much. And I don't think there's like one that could be fixable. I think all of those can be fixable with the right intentions. What is your ideal kind of great day? As if we were hanging out, I guess basically, what do you find fun to do with friends? Me and my friends play a lot of board games, have been playing a lot of board games lately. Just chatting with them is just great. But it varies. There are so many kinds of great days that you can have in all different flavors and fonts. So I don't really have a specific way. Any day is great where I can just lay in bed and read a good book, marathon a fun show, sit in a hammock for a long time and watch mountains. I like all kinds of things. Have you seen Frieren? I honestly don't know how that show is pronounced. I think it's a show. No, I have not, but now I might. What do you think is the best way or most effective to portray a story? Games, movies, TV shows, books, etc. I don't think that there's a single effective way to portray a story, honestly. All mediums have their own strengths and weaknesses. Have you watched Andor, and if so, how you feel about it? Well... Oh god, editing this will be a journey. What is your favorite bad movie / book / series? Twilight Saga is definitely... I would say my favorite comedy ever. I always watch them from the perspective of a comedy and they're so fun. I don't think that there are any bad shows that I like watch intentionally that I like. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I watch bad shows. I already have a hard time like watching good shows, so I don't think I would watch a bad show intentionally. Yeah, I don't really have guilty pleasures when it comes to shows. Overall, I do sometimes enjoy, from time to time, a shitty romance book but it shouldn't be shittily written. Like, it actually has to be well written, but still, you know, like the shittier the plot, but with actual good prose. Like, shitty plot with good prose and interesting characters. Who's worse, WB or Disney? Probably Disney, I think. Would you ever consider leaving Georgia? Yes, every day, always, at all times. Any chance we can get a review of my favorite movie of all time, In Bruges? Chances are low right now, as in I haven't really seen the movie, but I will consider watching it, and if it inspires me to make a video about it, I definitely will. It looks like the YouTube algorithm is calibrated to favor your Star Wars content, especially the sequel trilogy. Have you ever thought of making a second channel or multiple channels that could have content focusing on different subject matter? It might help you to have success with the content that is doing as well on your current channel. Yes, I have considered making multiple channels. I wanted to make a second channel to post shorts and more of a relaxed content of me that I usually post on Patreon, maybe take some Patreon posts and move it to that other YouTube channel. And I still consider it. Maybe I will. I think that's a great idea. It's just, yeah, I have to commit to it. The only thing standing before that is me committing to it. Maybe I will. It's already scary and anxiety inducing for me to have one channel, to have a second channel. And I'm not the best in marketing myself and sort of telling people to go and check out my content anywhere. So yeah, that terrifies me, but I might, because that's actually a really good idea. What is the country you always wanted to visit? Good question. It's hard. I always gravitated towards UK, I think. I really wanted to go to Germany, which I did. Probably like southern Italy, maybe. I love everything I've ever seen or read about those places. And then I'd say I'd love to revisit Vienna, so Austria. Does your country have its own movies that are really good and worth checking out, or you wish more people would know about? There's a few, and I'm still like educating myself on this subject myself, but there are a few great ones that we made during Soviet times. Actually, Soviets were quite passionate about movies. One of them is, I would recommend two, Mimino and this movie called Repentance. Fantastic film and definitely worth it. And I'd say more current ones, Tangerines. I think it was made very recently, I think in 2010s, and it was actually nominated for an Oscar. So, have you ever thought about reviewing other types of media like games or books in the future? P.S. I love your content. Thank you. I would love to review books. Games, I would love to be able to, but I don't think I'm competent enough at this right now at this point in time. And I love to talk about books, but I don't think that there's much of a demand out there, not just for my audience, but in general for book reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, probably not gonna happen. What is your go-to drink? What alcohol do you like? My favorite alcohol is Bailey's, but I do enjoy me some beer, obviously. And yeah, if I'm feeling fancy, wine. Rogue One and/or video when? Well, I hope you enjoyed them and you're welcome. I'm not a subscriber yet, but I liked your Arcane criticism video, so I'm gonna need you to convince me to subscribe. That's this one says hi. Hello. I saw these pointy things as a vampire collar and not ears. Am I valid? You're not invalid. Would it be alright for me to potentially quote a few of your YouTube videos in work projects or social media posts? I would be honored, honestly. It would be cool. I have nothing against it. You know, I guess as long as it's like credited properly, it's fine with me. Do you live with your parents? Actually, I do. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't feel pressured to move out, honestly. I love my parents and I was fortunate enough to have a great relationship with my family. I'm a computer science student, so a lot of my work and studies are, you know, very much oriented on being secluded into my room. So it's great to have people around and the people that I love especially. So I think it's a great blessing. So yeah, I love my family. Your editing is so good. Did you study something related to filmmaking? Thank you. And no, I have not studied anything about filmmaking. Sorry. Are you squeamish? As in, are you okay with the gory stuff in movies and TV shows? Is that too gross? Actually, I'm pretty much, I think, the opposite of squeamish. I find most gore, at least in like modern horror and thriller and stuff and gore, pretty funny usually. I giggle a lot, and yeah, I mean there's stuff that like creeps me out, but very rarely. Is there any piece of media you used to like the writing of, but to look back and dislike the writing? Nothing specific that I can remember, probably just things I used to watch as a kid and like. It's literally 4 a.m. and some Georgian drunk men are having the loudest conversation in the next apartment. Now these are some special ones. What do you think of the Buffyverse? What is your favorite character and why? And please take a while. I think Buffyverse legitimately goes against laws of physics. It's just legitimately insane how effective Buffyverse is without like heavily relying on world building, which I didn't think that was possible, to have like a great story without focusing too much on world building and just having great characters do the heavy lifting. Buffyverse proved me wrong, and its character work is literally unmatched. It's truly a testament of how far some great dialogue and character work can get your story. And also, I am so fascinated by the sheer amount of care and adoration that the writers have for each single character and every single little detail about them, that they bring up those little details like set seasons after, which I don't think I've ever seen a show do that ever. I adore Buffyverse. It's one of the most dynamic and fascinating, I think, worlds in fiction. My favorite character, it's difficult because it changes like 5 times a day. Just recently went from Willow to Spike to Wesley, back to Willow, and I think today back to Spike again. So right now I would say Spike, but probably tomorrow it will be Wesley. As to why Spike, from the first second he's on screen, he simply could have just been that. He could have been funny, charming, iconic, badass. He was already all those things from the first second. He could have carried seasons of the show just from how cool he was, but the writers didn't want to be lazy for some reason, so they decided that we're gonna make him one of the most fascinating, layered, well-developed characters in the history of ever. So they didn't have to do that, and they did, and that's so admirable. That's so inspiring. So I guess for that thing alone today, Spike is currently my favorite, but that will change. As we all know, the world is clearly divided between 2 groups of people based on their opinion on Interstellar. You either love it for the things it does well or hate it for the things it does poorly. Where are you on this divide? I'm actually one of those maybe non-existent people who are somewhere in the middle. I deeply admire Nolan for trying to tell that story. Cinematography is great, masterful even. The score, also masterful. Purely, exclusively on an emotional level, the film works for me, but outside of that, everything else, when it comes to writing, not the best at all. So yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle where I can appreciate the effort and I can admire the effort put into, but yeah, not the best. Like, if someone tells me Interstellar is their favorite movie ever, I'll be like, yeah, that is not the worst opinion I've heard. And if they say it's their most hated movie ever, I'll be like, yep, that tracks. What do these men have to shout about at 4 a.m.? I'm trying to record. If possible, can we add the Spy Kids trilogy and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies to the list of possible commentaries for you to do at some point? This is referring to Patreon, and of course, I love those movies, and I would be more than glad to do commentaries on them. Maybe I will get around to them one day. But why are you hiding that you have a boyfriend? I would never kiss and tell. Do you give second chances? Yes, way too much. Please can we have some Georgian lessons? Specifically, please can we learn Georgian curse words, funny insults that I can use on my enemies? I will be more than glad to teach you because I love Georgian curse words. They're the best in the world, and I mean this sincerely. My favorite one is obviously Georgian version of fuck you, which is Sheni deda motran. And my favorite thing about Georgian insults is that they actually sound like insults. Sheni deda motran, when you say this, it actually feels therapeutic because it actually like feels good to let it out. And in Georgian, those insults, like, you can't just say them casually, like you say fuck or shit. They're very serious insults and you can just throw them around. I like the word shevetsi, which means like fuck. Why are they being so fucking loud? Yeah, that's I'm gonna curse those guys out there. Other than that, there are a lot. There's also ale, which is basically a word for dick. Chem ales, which means like kind of suck my dick. They're really great. When you're actually angry, to say tetamutkan, it actually feels good. Does Bruno Mars is gay? Does. What is your opinion about A24 movies? I think A24 is one of the better ones, honestly. If they're good, they're really good. Mostly they're average to bad. How do you know so much about cinema and storytelling? I don't know. Goals for 2025. Well, 2025 unfortunately is almost over. At this point, maybe reach 100k, which I doubt will happen, but I'd love to. When I'm holding this like this, it kind of looks like I'm naked, so remind me not to do that, though you can't. Can you please read the word development out loud, but pronounce it the way you used to, as in devil up mint? Okay, I'll do it once. Development. I think that's how I used to say it. It's development. I've come to learn that the hard way. I also know that I'm mispronouncing motivation a lot. I say motivation instead of motivation. I think that's how you say it, and I think there's something about politics or politicians that I say wrong, but what are you doing outside my house? I'm stalking you, bitch. What do you think? Given your knowledge of storytelling, is there any projects/works of yours that we can find beyond this channel? Absolutely not. There's nothing I've ever done to my life. But hey, I'm still young. I'm still young. There's a lot of time. Hopefully. That's why I tell myself to go to sleep or fall asleep. Who is flashing in the toilet so much today? What the hell? Someone is having a bad diarrhea. I like your writing style, video editing and analysis. I plan on copying as much as possible in pursuit of creating my own style. My question is, how did you develop your style? I actually encourage you to steal as much as you can from me. I don't mind it. It's weird to me that a lot of like creators and content creators get so pressed about it. Everybody has to start somewhere, and whether we intend it or not, of course, like you shouldn't plagiarize someone or their opinions or their things that they do when it comes to their content. But the style thing is also like, I can't really copyright my style. Whether we intend it or not, we are the product of the media that we consume. We still end up copying people. And you can't really be absolutely 100% yourself at first. You have to borrow from someone or somewhere. It will be a problem if it like goes on forever and you never end up developing your own, but you will. So yeah, that's how I did it, and that's how everybody does it. And when it comes to like how I did it, I think it's just get down to it. Like do it. As long as you don't think about, oh, I sound like this person or other person. Just do it. I swear to fucking God. Do it, fuck around, and you will find out. And your style will find you, not the other way around. There's just so many questions. I don't know how I will be able to put them all in one video. It's going to be like 3 hours long. This might not be applicable to you because possibly it might not be as big a thing in Eastern Europe, but do you have a middle name? If so, what is it? I don't actually, but I think it's so useless, but at the same time, so cool. I would love to have an alternative to Nuts. It would be cool to have another thing to be called. I think middle names are cool, though I do think they're quite useless. What are your opinions on the socioeconomic state of an egg roll? I'm sad to say the situation is pretty fucking dire. At what point in Arcane Season 2 did you lose all hope of it getting good? I don't remember. I think for the best, but I think it was around either episode 3 or the beginning of the second act. But I think it was maybe episode 3. Can you elaborate on Hollywood's desire to funnel cash into making propaganda pieces for a single side of the political spectrum, and do you see it changing? Will they continue to influence life imitating art? I would be hesitant to call it like propaganda. I don't know. I don't like to just throw that word around, honestly, whether it is or isn't. I always say, I don't think that wokeness is the cause. I think it's just the symptom of Hollywood being lazy. I think if you removed all the politicalness and wokeness from it, it would still be shit, because honestly, the people just don't give a shit. They would find another way to make it shit. I don't think it would instantly solve any of the problems that we have. I don't think that it leaning either way on the political spectrum would change anything. Even if they became completely apolitical, that wouldn't change a thing. I do believe that the political landscape of the world, and especially of America, has been changing quite drastically lately, and I do think that that will influence art moving forward, for the better or for the worse. If you had a theme song that would play anytime you make an entrance, what would it be and why? I think Take On Me, maybe. I don't know. What was your favorite hobby growing up? Did it have any influence on you getting into YouTube? I had so many hobbies. I had a lot of hyperfixations. When I was like 7, I decided that I wanted to make my own website to host my own web show. So I got really into coding, though I didn't know how to, so I was just thinking a lot about coding and HTML. I didn't understand it at all. That was my first ever hyperfixation. I would just create like shitty websites and then just anything about computers. You know, I mean, one of my long-lasting hyperfixations were obviously movies. I had a Minecraft phase, serious book nerd phase, just anything, 3D modeling. Yeah, and a lot of those things actually, I mean, the editing was my hyperfixation for a long time when I didn't know it. So yeah, a lot of those things, in fact, came in handy for YouTube. Actually, it got so bad when I was 15. I went for a job interview at this very serious place, prestigious place, and I made my CV. I didn't know how to. And I had written down every program and software I knew how to use, and not just like I've used, but knew well. And I had them written down in a list. And this 30-year-old man, one of the men that was interviewing me, he's holding my CV and he was like, "You just lied, right? You don't know all these programs." And I was like, yep, because I was too ashamed to admit to the fact that I was in fact that much of a nerd. Opinion on Leica films, Caroline, Paranorman, etc. I think the only one I've seen is Caroline, and that is just a creepy masterpiece. I really like it. Yeah, I need to watch more. Have you heard of the singer Lofi? I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name. I might be. If you have, do you have any favorite songs of hers? Songs that you liked? I obviously haven't heard her name pronounced apparently. I really like her. I don't consistently listen to her, but I love her jazzy vibe. I like the song Fallen Behind. I connect with it a lot, but sonically Let Me Break Your Heart Again is very beautiful, so I really like her. And the last question is, what is the color of night? Which is pink. Luthen has had a lot of fun. I'm sorry I keep, for most of the video, I keep looking down because I'm trying to read the questions and keep looking at myself because I can't not. I am completely and utterly fried, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for submitting questions. I hope you got to know me a little better. At this point, if I ever post this, it's been at least an hour that we've spent together. Thank you for listening to this. I don't know who will even care to watch this in full, even if it parts. But see you guys next time. I really want to make a stream someday where I answer your questions live, but you know, I need to grow my balls need to grow just a tiny little bit more for me to gain confidence to do that. But I would love to do that at some point. I think it would be fun. Yeah, there are a lot more fun things coming on my channel that I plan to do, and I hope you guys stick around for it. Now, thank you, and see you guys next time. It's 5 a.m.